Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Joseph Blackman. I'm here with Spencer Greer. He's the owner of Two Hands Technology. So, Spencer, this is a Bay Area business podcast. Welcome to the Bay Area. I heard you're from San Diego.
Yes.
San Diego. It's beautiful out there, man.
Yeah, definitely a good place.
So let us know about Two Hands Technology and what it does and how you add value to the community.
Sure thing. First off, we're a IT consulting business, so
Okay.
adding value to the community isn't necessarily like our main
Yeah.
driving factor. But one of the things that we try to do, and we try to do it with our B2B customers as well, but we really pride ourselves on providing great value.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we like to do, because we do get people who are in the community and they'll have a computer problem and come to us, we try to provide flat rate pricing for everything we do. We try to really undercut the Geek Squad and give people a much better experience.
Geek Squad is a ripoff, man.
I've heard stories and people have to leave their computers there for like a week at a time.
Ooh,
and
they drive around in the bugs, and I know that's overhead, right?
Yeah, so we have people who come in and they don't know what to do. And we really try to make them feel like you're not going to get ripped off with us. We let you know up front what you're going to pay, and we try to get things done very quickly. So we'll have people come in with an emergency in the morning, and we'll have their laptop to them by the evening, ready to go. And it usually costs them maybe $50.
Beautiful.
I mean,
beautiful.
so it's a good deal.
That's one thing I learned with IT. It's like, I don't know what you do, so it's easy for you to say this is what I should do. And it's like you never know who's a stand-up guy, who's just sitting on the computer at home, or if like the little loading thing is actually doing something. So I'm glad we got good people who do that.
Appreciate that.
So let me know how you got into this. Did you always play with computers as a kid?
I say I've been programming since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
But that's not completely true. But when I was about 6, my father got me it's called a Trash 80, a Radio Shack TRS 80 computer.
Ooh, okay.
And it's this old school computer, and we used to sit with the books and sit and write code and programs to make the screen change colors and things like that. But
Cool,
it really wasn't until college where I really started focusing on information systems and business and things like that.
Okay, so answer this for me. You went to school for it, but did you learn more out of school, like in the actual field versus in school?
Absolutely, especially in my case, because I didn't go to school for computer science like a lot of really hardcore computer programmer type guys do. So my degree was management information systems, and I also minored in speech communication.
Okay.
So we had a lot of business foundation, and the technology stuff was very, piece by piece, not really in a lot of in detail. But it was one of those things where when I got out and started working, or even working while I was in college, started encountering situations where, I could build something that helped with this or help with that. And so that's kind of where the ball got rolling.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go a little deeper into the brain of Spencer Greer. So what does the word failure mean to you?
I love that word.
You love it, what?
I love that word, absolutely. One of the best lessons I was ever taught, a guy named Ray Bradford at the company Solid Concepts, one of my first jobs, and we were putting together a computer together, and I dropped a screw down in between the case, and we had to try to get it out, and it was really hard to get out, and he's like, that's experience. I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And that's when I
say that again.
Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want.
Ooh, okay.
So, and I didn't really understand at the time what he meant specifically until I learned about failing and making mistakes, and that's the best way to learn is failure. If you want to fail fast and fail quickly, so that you can learn that lesson as quick as possible, so you can avoid it for the next thing. So the more failure I have, that just means I'm getting closer to success.
Yeah. I always tell people, if you don't know where you're going, go as fast as you can, because you realize where you need to go, quicker. Okay, so tell us about your plan for business growth in the next year.
We've got two facets of our business. We have our monthly customers that pay us every month to watch their computer systems 24/7.
Nice.
And
24. How do you? You're asleep, right?
Yeah, exactly. But we have a specialized system. And this is really one of the places where we bring a lot of value to businesses, small businesses especially, is that we monitor all their systems 24/7.
Okay.
So if in the middle of the night on Saturday night they've got a file server and one of the hard drives starting to die, I'm going to get a text message waking me up at 3 a.m. telling me, hey, this thing looks like it's failing, so that we can call the owner the next day, get the stuff replaced, and then when he comes in on Monday, he doesn't have an emergency.
Yeah.
So having that software really allows us to be able to manage a lot of computers really effectively, and we can actually sleep at night too, most of the time.
I figured that. So what's your plan for personal development? Is there like continuing education? I know every 4 months a new computer comes out. So do you have to learn it?
No, I mean, being in technology, we're pretty much forced to stay on top of it. If we don't stay on top of our game, things start slipping under the radar. Our clients are going to lose, there's things like viruses, for example. If we're not up to date on all that kind of stuff, there could be things coming through that we don't know about. And so, we stay in touch with, of course, tech news sites and things like that on the basic stuff. But to be honest, I mean, just being in managing systems on a day-to-day basis, it really keeps us sharp. If you get to where you stop touching the machines, then that's when you start losing your feel and having that expertise.
Wow, that's interesting. So what's your definition of success? What does a win look like for you?
A win, I think that answer has changed over the years.
Okay. So what was it when you first got into it?
I mean, whenever I was younger, I always thought success was a financial thing. And today, I still feel that it is to some extent. But I have a family, I have a son, and I'm learning that there are things that are much more important than money. So, part of the reason starting this business was appealing to me was because I have certain leeway. I can sit here and do this podcast with you without worrying about my boss getting upset I'm out of the office. That's one good example. But also, on the other hand, I have one of our clients, a fellow named Mark Black at California Home Spas in Long Beach. He told me in Long Beach. I have a client in Long Beach, absolutely. But he said, now you get to decide which 60 hours a week you want to work.
Which 60?
And it is absolutely true. So, with my personality, that's I like having the freedom to be able to make that decision. So that's important to me. So it works well.
Okay. So you were at the food bank last night, and what were you doing at the food bank?
We moved pallets, empty pallets going on semi trucks. That was kind of interesting. And then once we finished that job, we actually went inside, and they had these huge boxes of oranges, and so we were taking all the, making new smaller boxes to go out in distribution and moving them into the freezer, and it was really fun. And at the end of the night, the gentleman who kind of was our boss showed us around and told us all about all the stuff they get in, all the donations they get from like companies like Walmart, Sam's Club, how much community support goes into running that place. He said they have volunteers every day, groups of volunteers every day coming in to help them, and they have work to do. So it was pretty amazing. I didn't even know that existed in Concord until last night, and it was really a treat to get to go in there and see what they do. Yeah, and that's, dealing with agriculture. So how can you use tech to give back? Is there... It's
hard, right?
It is hard, and I kind of go back to... of course, like we try to get involved with the chamber and do things like that. That's one way that we can help, but anybody can do that, right? And with us, like I said, when it comes to the community, when people come in and they have problems, we tend to treat consumers as opposed to businesses. We tend to try to treat those consumers very gently and help them out the best way they can. We get people come in sometimes, and they don't have a lot of money to spend. This is their only computer. They have a problem. And they can't do some other thing they need to do to help, that is a normal part of their daily life. So. That's the one place where I feel like we can show some compassion. We try not to, our pricing is kind of bare minimum for those people, because we just want to help them and give them a good experience, so that maybe they go to their business and be like, hey, my computer broke. We talked to these guys, and they do support for businesses too, and they were very friendly, and hopefully that trickles into our core business.
Well, that's good stuff. It givers gain. It comes back to all reciprocity. So recommend one personal development book and one business book for our audience.
Personal development book. Gosh, I had to think. That's
you sound
like
a reader, though.
I do like to read a little bit. I'm trying to think personal development. That I'll have to maybe come back to that one. But business books. One actually, I can give you both, and they're both kind of the same. Whenever Tim Ferriss came out with 4-Hour Workweek and 4-Hour Body, I would say either of those. But for personal, 4-Hour Body is one of those where if you're not somebody who's ever gotten into learning about your diet, learning about exercise, it's a real quick and easy read that he writes in a way that almost anybody can really understand it. And that book, I think, was it was a good book for me getting started into fitness and things like that. But then you end up taking a step further and really getting into detailed books. But that's a great starter book for anybody looking to just make some changes in their personal life. But as far as business, one of the books that really impacted me was a book by Eric Ries called Lean Startup.
Lean Startup, yeah.
Lean Startup, just the whole idea, and he's the person who, going back to failure, he's the guy that says, fail fast, because it's all about finding out what you're doing wrong as quickly as possible, and if you need to go in another direction, go in another direction. So that book was just a tremendous help to me with starting my business and trying to start other businesses.
Especially when we don't have huge venture money coming in, we're bootstrapping.
Exactly, and it's a great model for how to most effectively bootstrap and only do the minimal things you need to do to get your business in the right direction.
Yeah, beautiful. Tim Ferriss, Eric Ries, those are good books. Okay, so who influenced you and how did they influence you?
In terms of influences,
like mentors.
I've been lucky to have a few, but the one gentleman who has probably done the most for me personally and professionally is a guy named Ed McGarry. He is the CEO of our 2 largest clients, and he was my mentor for the last 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Whenever I started working at one of the companies that they managed called SoftHub, I had worked at another company for a year and a half, and I came into this company, my first real IT department kind of job.
Yeah.
And I was already started getting my MBA at Cal State Northridge at night, and he found out about it, and he said, "Look, they're going to teach you a lot of stuff in those classes, but I'm going to show you how to run a business."
Exactly, yeah.
And he really has, not only has he shown me how to run a business, he's given me the freedom to get involved in engineering projects, manufacturing, accounting, every aspect of the business for the last 10 years. He's given me full reign to get involved in a lot of things and taught me along the way. But then also he's been a personal mentor as well when it comes to things like family and making decisions about jobs and things like that.
Balance, right?
The work-life balance and how to handle things like that. He's been one of those guiding forces, and he's also been the guy that's like, I don't think you're making the right decision, and then 6 months later I'm back and I'm like, hey, you were right, but he let me fail, so it's usually a good thing. But he without that guy, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. This business couldn't be what it is without that person.
Wow. So how can we find more about Two Hands Technology or more about Spencer Greer? Websites?
The best place to come for the business is twohandstech.com. TWOHANDSTECH.com. We have we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. I'd like to say we should be more active with our social stuff, but the LinkedIn and the Two Hands Tech site are the best places to go if you want to learn about our business, about what we do. Then there's customer testimonials on there, and of course, the other thing is, we're a small business. Pick up the phone, give us a call.
There you go.
You got questions, we have answers. We're always happy to talk to potential new customers and give them good information or competitive quotes if they're shopping around for services.
Yeah. Sounds good. So this is my last question. It's always an interesting question, but you're from San Diego, so you're going to have to think on this one. So if you had a friend come into town and they're starving, right? They got to eat. Where would you take them to get a bite to eat that best represents the Bay Area?
My first experience coming to San Francisco, we ate at a couple of different places, but the one meal that really stood out to me, and this may not be representative of San Francisco per se, but a little bit, but we went and ate on the water somewhere north of the Golden Gate Bridge. I forget what town that's called.
Sausalito?
We ate in Sausalito on the water, and we had brunch and had this crab cakes eggs Benedict that was, I'd never had it before, I just, oh man, it just blew me away. Ever since then, that became one of my favorite breakfast dishes, and I always link that to my first trip to San Francisco.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for taking the podcast.
No problem.
This is Spencer Greer, Two Hands Technology over here in Concord. Check out his website. You'll see the address. Come down, shake his hand, call him, hear his voice. Spencer, just want to say thanks for taking the podcast, and I'll see you at the top.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.